Hey, wonderful and amazing Sharam Namdarian here, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to care less about what other people think of you, and actually, why it's okay to. On this channel I always talk a lot about emotional healing. You should know this by now. And to be honest, a lot of the times when we're talking about healing, we're actually talking about healing from the perspective that you're actually enough as you are. When one person walks down the path of emotional healing and emotional surrender, they pretty soon come to the amazing realizations that there have been a lot of small behaviors that they've had within themselves that basically were people-pleasing behaviors. People-pleasing isn't necessarily a bad thing though, because for example, we have a society of people-pleasing. Businesses, for example, in some cases, might be people-pleasing. If you walk down to your local Kmart or Walmart or whatever sort of mart you have in your particular country, generally, they would like to have products that please their customers. Please them so much that the customers might be like, hey, wait a second, I want those pants. Or hey, wait a second, I want that ladder, or whatever it is that they're selling at their particular place. So we tend to have a society that is actually based on people-pleasing. But what's more important than people-pleasing is, or more important than having this, I guess, feeling that we shouldn't be trying to impress other people, is that, I guess, the unresolved emotion that's a problem. Because truth be told, that feeling, that unresolved feeling that we should be not caring about what other people think, is often something we've been sold. There are a lot of people in the dating communities and also business communities, and well, let's just fucking talk about it, personal development communities as a whole, that sort of have this idea that we should care less about what other people think. And that if you do care less about what other people think, you yourself are now, in some ways, metahuman, superhuman, some form of slightly above average human. And truth be told, this, just like a lot of personal development, can then present itself as an ego game. We're trying to do this in order to feel better about ourselves. But things based on ego, truth be told, don't necessarily last. Because they're not really based on who we are as a person. And who we are as a person tends to last for let's just say our whole life. So if you're looking to sort of, I guess, worry less about what someone is thinking of you, well, truth be told, that's different. That is different to try and to act as if someone doesn't care, like you don't care about what other people think. Worrying less about what someone thinks of you actually does come from healing. Regardless of whether you've actually gone out of your way and tried to really cultivate that feeling or not, the most profound way to care less about what other people think of you, is to heal those reactions. Because truth be told, what ends up happening, that subtle fear of someone else's reactions to you can be debilitating, and this is why people go down that path. It can be debilitating, it can be something that does limit you. But truth be told, why are we afraid of what other people think of us? Because of how it feels. We might be afraid that they might scold us. We might be afraid that they might hurt us. We might be afraid that they might do something to us. And truth be told, if you are in a situation where they might do something like physical damage to you, you might want to take some steps to get out of that. But here at an emotional level, when we're talking about worrying less about what other people think of us, it's interesting because the fear of that causes us to worry about what other people think of us is also a fear of what it feels like. That if we say the wrong thing, they might not like us. If we do the wrong thing, they might not like us. They might not love us. They might push us away. They might say something. We might lose something. We might lose friendships. We might lose lovers. We might lose partners. We might lose business opportunities. But it's interesting because the more you walk down a path of healing, the more you realize more and more and more and more and more is that sometimes the only reason why you were in that situation in the first place, that you might lose that person, is, truth be told, because you did limit yourself from the very beginning. For example, you were afraid of someone not liking you. In, say, for example, love. You were afraid of someone not liking you. So you pull your punches. You become less you. And then later on in the relationship, you try and express yourself But because that person never really likes the real you, they liked the version of you that you presented to them, well, you start to lose the relationship. And what does that do? That then reaffirms the initial belief that I can't be myself. All right, yeah. So what do? We then become afraid. We become afraid of what people think of us. And so then that creates that then belief that then through an ego gain, we then try and counterbalance that. And that's then all of these layers. On the other hand, you present yourself as who you are from the start. You've healed your responses to people's responses to you, so therefore you don't necessarily care too much, but you are okay caring. And that's the important thing with healed people. It's not that you don't care, it's that you are okay caring and you are okay not caring. You have the freedom of the entire spectrum. But say, for example, you then go to your lover or your partner and you present yourself as authentically yourself as you can. Now, you are okay caring just as you are okay not caring, which means you are okay loving and being loved just as you are okay as not loving and being not loved. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not because you know you are whole and happy and healthy, and truth be told, there is nothing that they can take away from you. So what do? You present yourself as honestly as possible. Now then, they then love you. So I got something in my eye. They then love you for who you are. And that then creates a reaffirming belief where you can be loved for who you are. On the other hand, if that person doesn't necessarily love you in the way that you wanted to be or ask them to do or whatever it is, what ends up happening? Nothing. Because there is nothing to lose. Because truth be told, there at one point, look, you might say there's nothing to gain, but truth be told, love is an amazing thing. It's not that there's nothing to gain, it's just more that there's nothing to lose. So this whole thing of being afraid of what other people think of you just means that there's something to heal. That's all it means. And if you are the kind of person who wants to care less about what other people think of you, well, truth be told, walk down the healing path. You can care less, sure, but all you're going to do is basically numb yourself. Numb yourself to what other people think of you and what you think of yourself. When you numb the bad, you also simultaneously numb the good. And if we're looking to actually find something amazing in life, find amazing love, amazing life, amazing fucking just every aspect of life, what should happen? We have to heal. We have to emotionally surrender to the feelings. And that might be painful. But as always, the feelings themselves eventually subside. They subside because the cycles end and we learn from them. And we might then learn from that fear, from surrendering to the feeling that we're afraid of them or afraid of what they think. We might realize deep down that we have nothing to lose. And deep down, since we have nothing to lose, we have everything to gain. But here's the thing, caring about what other people think isn't necessarily a problem. You know, some people call it empathy. Some people call it just fucking respect. If you go around trying to give less shits about what other people think of you, you might find that other people give less shits about you. And if that's the path you want, congratulations. But if that's not the path you want, if you're looking for a life that's integrated, whole, and literally your maximum potential because you yourself are living your maximum potential at all times, which, by the way, as you heal, you learn that that's never not the case, that you are always living your maximum potential. Sleeping and living and growing and breathing is an expression of who you are and your potential. And the more you start seeing your maximum potential as just existing, the more you start to notice it and actually cultivate what society then might call your maximum potential. But the more you go down this path of healing, which I invite you to surrender to those feelings as you are talking to someone and you are afraid, surrender to that fear. Don't have to change it, don't have to modify it, don't have to change the situation, don't have to modify the situation. Just surrender. It will pass, you will heal those aspects of yourself, and then what happens? You will realize something deeply profound, that there was nothing to be afraid of. And when there's nothing to be afraid of, there is nothing to lose, and when there is nothing to lose, what's left? There's everything to give. And when there's everything to give, what ends up happening? People start liking us for who we are, because who we are was giving. We respect ourselves. Sure, we look after ourselves. Sure, we love ourselves. But who we are and who we are, deep down, is basically love expressing itself. love of the universe, love of who we are, love of everything, that there is a way to find respect for who we are and respect for other people, and to have that essentially a dance between two people, between you and others, without caring less of what other people think, to find peace with what other people might think, and to just give less shits. And to actually know that maybe, just maybe, the thing you were afraid of all along was actually something that was meant to try and benefit you. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you do want to learn more about emotional surrender and what the fuck that is, I have an online course. It's my latest one out. The link is in the description, so you can get access to that. I do have a new one coming out that's called Healing the Blocks to Love, where I'm actually recording that today I'm going to prompt you to some of the major beliefs and some of the major issues when it comes to creating love in your life and having more amazing connections. It's not just romantic, it's all connections, but it can affect you in your love life, in your dating life, in whatever life, your sex life. Who gives a shit? It's all of the things when it comes to human connection. So thank you so much for watching this video. And there's all that stuff people say like, oh, if you like this video, give it a like. If you like, then subscribe and all that sort of stuff. But I leave this to you. Like, if you like this video, you'll know what to do. All right, talk to you soon. Mwah.